That's right. Campbell Safety Consulting. I know a lot of companies using those guys for a number of different things now. There he is, my guy. It's been a minute, as the kids say. Doubles, nice to see ya.
You as well. It definitely has been a minute.
Yeah.
Nice socks hat. Like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the deal? Are you a socks guy?
I like the hat. I need a nice, solid black and white hat, and it's the best one out. So, I'm pretty sure this is why is one of the number one sellers because of the color. So, not because of the team.
You look good in that SJHL hat that Barney's got on, though. That would
little sports cage.
Little sports cage.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Hat.
That's sweet there. Nice.
We got to get you one down. Hey, I got to out of the gate here. I got to ask you, man. This NFL free agents and guys going here, but the Maxx Crosby and to Baltimore, and then they say nope, not passing the physical. Although a number of doctors looked at it, and then he's back with Oakland. What do you make of all this?
You know, I think Baltimore just realized they made a mistake. I think, from a team that rarely makes blockbuster trades like this, they don't typically give up first-round picks. To give up two for a guy who's still on crutches, may not ever return to the guy he was once before. I think they slept on it and just figured, you know what, we'd rather go with Trey Hendrickson, a guy who has no injured past. Even though he played as much due to his contract issues, he's still a very productive player, and you get to keep your first round picks. I mean, Baltimore has historically drafted very, very well, and I think that, like I say, slept on it. They said, you know what, we gave way too much for Maxx Crosby, a hurt Maxx Crosby at that, and they just had buyer's remorse.
Is that the angle that teams can take, though? That they can use the medical to say, no, we're canceling the trade? Can they actually use that?
This is the first time I've heard of that happening, and but I think it's so funny with this free agency period that's in the NFL, where you can start talking to guys and you can agree on a contract, but you can't put ink to paper yet. So I think that because of this little window, it gave Baltimore an opportunity to say, you know what, we may not have liked what we saw with the doctor visits and with the MRIs and things like that, or we may realize we made a mistake and we need to, try to fix this as quickly as possible before Max does sign this contract. So regardless of the fact, they took advantage of that little window and that little got in there where the doctors could come in and make a decision, and they got their picks back, and they ended up getting a pretty productive defensive end as well.
Yeah. So do you think, because I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of everybody here. So now I think more so than they're talking about, I think there's a chance that Las Vegas is just going to say, Tom Brady's going to roll into the room and be like, hey, we're sorry. This hasn't worked really well. We're making some moves here. We got the first round pick. We're going to be better.
Yeah.
We want you here. Do you think they can reconcile this?
I think so. I mean, look, it's tough to give up 2 first-round picks. I don't care who you are. And if Baltimore, or another team was to throw something like that at the Raiders again, I'm not sure if they pass it up. But, now that, Baltimore's doctors have seen him, and if there's word around the league that he may not be as healthy as they think he is, then they're not going to get as much compensation for him. So they now have to make sure they make the best out of the situation and put him on the field. I wonder what their salary cap is going to look like, with all the guys that they've signed so far in free agency or have agreed to sign. They've dished out some big money on defense, even though they're not paying a quarterback, and I'm sure that's what takes up most of the cap. They do have a quarterback coming in Mendoza, probably, who's going to be on a rookie deal. So they'll have some money, and but for the most part, they have to make up with Maxx Crosby, especially if no other team is willing to throw 2 first-round picks out there.
What is the NHL salary or the NFL salary cap? What is the number?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know right offhand. I know it goes up each and every year. I'm thinking it's around 160, 170. I'm not sure. Don't let me.
Because what is Miami paying Tua not to play? Aren't they paying him like $40 million not to play there?
Yeah, they are, and I guess you could do that when they cut Tyreek Hill as well. That's one of their big money guys. They traded Minka Fitzpatrick to the Jets, so they cleared out some cap space in order to take care of Tua and also to bring in Malik Willis.
I would have been off too on the number. Colson's got it.
What do you got, Colson?
So it hasn't been set yet, but they're projecting between 301.2 and 305.7 million.
Is an annual salary cap per team?
Correct.
Oh,
that's nuts. So yeah, Maxx Crosby, they'll be like, okay, Max, we can pay you. Come on, man. Like, we're making these moves. We have some guys around you now. Like, let's go. And now we have a quarterback. So I think they'll make up.
That's $9.8 billion for all the teams together, by the way.
The Raiders have 52 million in dead cap money this year as well. So I want one more thing on the NFL here, and I want to go back to the combine because we haven't talked in a while. And then I was like, I'd be curious to get Double's take on that. Last week, or when the combine was on, when everyone was in Indy, and there was such a big thing made on arm length, which totally makes sense when you're defensive line, offensive guard, rush end, whatever you want arm length. It'll help you if it works. What's your take on? I'm sure you're of the school that if you got big long arms and you're good at your craft, that's a bonus. And then the other part to that is when it comes to the 40 and the bench press and the jump and all that, are any of those absolutely useless when you athletes kind of get into a room?
Well, I'll start with the arms. I think arms are a big deal, especially for a defensive lineman, and I think we're all talking about from Miami, who is a projected first-round pick but has like 30.5-inch arms, and that's just unheard of for a defensive end, especially one that you're looking at drafting in the first round and looking for some early production out of. So I think it's a problem. I mean, he's shown on film that he can show flashes of domination and get out there and play and make plays at a high level, but I just think, look, you're playing against the best of the best in the NFL, and these tackles are so big and strong. And if they're able to get their hands on you first because of their arms, then you're going to be in trouble. So, I still think he'll get a first-round look because he was so productive, but I definitely think he'll slide a little bit because, I mean, when you're drafting that early in the first round, you're looking for a franchise-changing player, and I'm not sure he can be that. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, he makes the best of it, but we'll see. And then with the bench press and all the drills at the combine, I think they're overrated for sure, especially the 40. I mean, so many people put such emphasis on the 40-yard dash. And I mean, look, the only guys that come out of a three-point stance are linemen. So when you see DBs and wide receivers and running back skill position guys who normally are in a two-point stance, or DBs for that matter who backpedal, then what value do you have off of a guy starting at a three-point stance and being able to run a fast 40? You want to know if he can play ball, what's his burst like. So I put more emphasis on the short shuttles, some of the broad jumps, the verts, things like that, where you see how explosive a guy is. If a guy can be in a standstill, how quickly can he move? So I would put more emphasis on some of the quickness drills more so than just a straight line 40, because like I said, no one starts in a three-point stance except for linemen.
Even in the CFL to NFL, if you were in charge and you could add element,
when you're in charge,
what would you add to maybe get eyeballs, to get a look at players? Is there any kind of physical measuring stick?
Yeah, and I don't think they'll ever do this, but I think the CFL does it a little bit, and it's one-on-ones. I mean, look, this is a football draft. This is a football combine, so you want to see guys play football. And, I mean, for them to go out there in their shirts and shorts and just run around, is going to be in peak condition. Everyone is going to be fast. I just don't think you get a good sense of, what type of football player you have. So I want to see more drills, but there's just so much at stake in the NFL. Guys are not going to risk getting hurt doing one-on-ones or guys holding you or tugging on you. You're looking at soft tissue issues with hamstrings and groins and things like that. So I don't think they'll do it, but I'm more so of a film. I want to see what you do with the pads on. Can you run fast with, 10 to 15 pounds worth of equipment on? What type of burst do you have in that matter? So that's what I like to see.
I have a question on this arm length thing. How do they measure this? Like, how do they figure out that wingspan? Where do they start from? Where do they end? What is that?
I think they go from armpit to fingertip. So they start right here on your armpit, and then they, go all the way out to your fingertips.
And so what are they looking for? Like 35, 36?
33 and a half,
and above.
I think. Yeah, 33 and above is...
We're going to need a tape measure in here.
Golden. Well, you're not...
I think I got some wingspan.
The game's passed you by, bud. It doesn't matter
You're not making a comeback? What's going on?
It's just gonna make you go, what if? What if? Hey, it was a while ago. Your boy Luke was on the show, and we were chatting, and we had a great old time. And we talked about, was it Norm? Who used to always get the boys loading up on Toonie Tuesday and eating, because it was around when the report cards came out and food, and the ride they're eating good nowadays. And I was like, I wonder, Darian, back in the day, because I would suspect your diet was pretty on point. Maybe I'm wrong, but when you look back, do you go, man, there's some guys that ate bad?
Including myself. I mean, look, okay. I came into the league. I mean, early when I was in college, of course, they took care of you. We had training table. They had everything laid out from, your green light foods to your yellow to your red, which is foods you shouldn't eat. So, coming into the CFL, now you're on your own, right? Now I'm making minimum wage. You have to convert that back to U.S. dollars, so I'm not seeing a lot of money. So a Toonie Tuesday or a McDonald's or a Burger King or something like that it's just the cheapest meal. So guys had to survive any way you could. Nowadays, like you said, these guys are just in so much luxury now. And this happened, towards the end of my career in Saskatchewan, when we start having chefs and meals prepped for you, breakfast and lunch. And, they made sure that nutrition was more of a thing. But, man, when I first came to the CFL, there was no way guys just had horrible diets. Now, if you had the money, you could go and get some good food, or you wanted to cook or do something like that. Most of us didn't even know how to cook. So, we did struggle with nutrition early on. Thankfully, we all, we worked out so much. We always had the fluids and things of that nature. But, I mean, my diet wasn't the best early on either. So I'm with Luke 100% on that.
What would have been in your fridge on Child Ave there if we would have went into Darian's fridge back in the day? What would have been in there?
Well, by then I was making a little money, so it was a little bit better, right? I could afford a good steak and eggs, or some broccoli, things like that. But before then, when I was on Parliament on the South Side, now I'm right there by Dairy Queen. I'm right there by McDonald's. All these all these bad good restaurants. So my first 2 years, I don't even want to talk about it. It was bad.
And then he talked about there was times where they would go to Winnipeg, and I think I was on the way back, they would have to bus, and the Fort Garry Hotel in Winnipeg would always be missing pillows because guys would be on that bus. Did you ever snag a pillow by chance from there? And then maybe the other... No?
I was a rookie at the time, so I didn't know that trick. But I did take washcloths and towels. I made sure I did that. So, but something, everybody had a bag of something. Trust me, like guys were. That was our opportunity for the year to get some linen. So we were all for it.
Is there one road trip, maybe when you're on a milk run too, and you guys had to fly? And is there one that stands out in your early days in the CFL that was maybe a horror?
Oh man, yeah, it was my first trip to Toronto, and we had to, on the way back, we couldn't. First of all, we couldn't leave after the game because there are no flights coming into Regina. So, so then when we wake up at 5 a.m, we now have to fly to Edmonton first, and then back to Regina. So I'm just like, wow, like we really, is this what traveling is going to be like? That was crazy. It's like a 4.5-hour flight all the way to Edmonton. We've been to Calgary a couple times. It's bad going to Calgary too, but at least it's a shorter flight. I mean, it's a little bit better airport in my opinion. But man, going all the way up to Edmonton and then back down to Regina, oh man, it was bad.
So you're saying the league's come a long way on nutrition, travel, services, everything else they're doing for the guys.
You know what? I could just smile. I feel like I played a big role in that, especially in Saskatchewan with the facilities, the success we had during my era. It just opened up the doors, guys. The private planes, the charter flights, everything that they get, man. Just happy to be a part of the change and the shift of culture, and allow the guys to enjoy this type of life.
Oh yeah, man.
It was rough.
After banging bodies, you got to get up that early
and get on a commercial flight.
Imagine if you're like
on a commercial flight,
6'4", 300-pound lineman or something.
And
see, this is what would happen.
Some guy.
So sometimes you would have, because it was commercial, you just have regular people on there, and they would have all the middle seats because when the team booked the flight, they would book all the aisles and windows. So if anyone else had to get on the flight, they had middle seats. So as soon as a veteran had someone in their middle seat, they just whistle and snap. Hey, rookie, come sit here. Let's switch seats. You're gonna 4.5-hour flight, man. There's no way a veteran was going to sit beside someone in the middle. So that was kind of like the rookie hazing at the same time.
Now I'm going to tell you a story. You might have a similar one. So years ago, Glenn Suter took the 4 5s out of the deck of cards as Pulley and Aldag were playing crib from Toronto to Regina on a commercial flight. And all they did was scream the whole time, "I can't get a cut." And Suter's got the 5s. Now, do you have some of those experiences on the plane?
No, I didn't get too involved with that, but I could only imagine with those guys, getting to know those guys over time, just I can sense the frustration, and I know Suter is just sitting there just laughing so hard inside. I could just picture that. That's amazing.
Okay, I don't know when the next time we're going to be able to chat again, if maybe do a Monday show here, but while I have you on here, and we are sitting in March, and I'm going to pull it up right now on sportselect.com. Maybe this could be our sprinkle of the day, even with a little Darian Durant, because I know we've talked gambling, and then you had your guy there that I still want to visit someday. But back to the NFL, with everything that's going on in that, who would Darian Durant have his eyes on in March as a maybe future bet to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, wow. Man,
that's
tough. You know what? I'm going to start with Baltimore, and I just feel like, and I'll go with them first, and then I'll go with Buffalo second. And I'll start with Baltimore because of Lamar Jackson. He's the only guy to win an MVP and not win a Super Bowl. So I feel like he's getting up there. He's about 29, 30 years old. I kind of remember when I was entering that age and hadn't had a Grey Cup, and the pressure and all that came with it. And you can see Baltimore making these moves, trying to get some defense in there to help them. So I'll go with Baltimore first, and then I go with Buffalo and this new team and Josh Allen and the expectations of the fans, and them adding more to the receiving core. Yeah. I think they're building up, and they're putting the right pieces in place to make a run. And if you ask me, Josh Allen was right there last year. I think they should have beat Denver if he would have taken care of the ball. We know that. But, I think they've gotten better. And I like Joe Brady as a coach. I think he's a great OC. We'll see how he is as a head coach. But I like Buffalo as well. So I'm going to my 1A and 1B will be Baltimore and Buffalo.
So they're tied 3-4. They're paying they're paying 10. The Bills, and then you see there, if you're watching the stream, the Rams and the Seahawks are both the favorite at 8.25. And then just for and giggles, if you go to the Grey Cup, guess Sharky, guess. Who do you think the front runner is to win the Grey Cup?
It's the Riders.
No, it isn't.
Really?
No. You go to the Grey Cup.
Montreal?
Thinking BC.
Montreal, Darian. Followed by
Montreal,
BC, followed by the Riders. So if you got an extra little bit of cash, maybe with a student loan or farming end of tax season, you can go hammer the Riders right now in Sports Select at 6. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
not bad value.
Yeah.
Man, you're a smart man. You know that you know to get in early. I see that. Huh?
Hey, yeah, I got some interesting NHL ones coming up, Darian. It's always fun. I'm glad we had a chance to do this on Thursday,
Absolutely.
and hopefully I'll be back on a Monday soon, and we'll be able to chat again, buddy.
Sounds good. Thank you. It was fun. Take care.
Right on. There.